Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us at this year's Volunteer Awards celebration. My name is Kevin Case, Mohonk Preserve's President and Chief Executive Officer. I'm joined this evening by our Volunteer Programs Committee and Switleck family members. Although we are unable to celebrate in person this year, we wanted to take this time to connect with our volunteers and friends wherever we happen to be. Volunteers are vital and essential to the work we at Mohonk Preserve do every day of the year. Our volunteer team of over 450 volunteers contributes to our conservation legacy, helps us meet the demands of our present moment, and carries forward our mission so future generations can enjoy the land we all love. Each year, a committee of Mohonk Preserve volunteers, staff, and a Switleck family member meet to consider recipients for the Gregory Switleck Senior Volunteer Achievement Award and the Volunteer Legacy Award. With so many dedicated volunteers contributing in unique and significant ways, this committee is tasked with selecting just one outstanding individual or couple to honor with each award. And with that, I now want to turn it over to MJ Martin, who will present the 2020 Volunteer Legacy Award.
Thanks, Kevin. Hello, I'm MJ Martin, Mohonk Preserve's Vice President and Chief Development Officer, and I am honored to present this year's Volunteer Legacy Award to a volunteer with an unparalleled legacy as a climber, trail keeper, life member, and friend of the preserve. Please join me in recognizing the 2020 Volunteer Legacy Award recipient, Alvin D. Maria. Al's story is quintessentially a gunk's tale. Beginning in 1958, he became an original member of the Vulgarians, an unconventional and innovative group of climbers who helped popularize climbing in the gunks and push it to higher levels. Alongside fellow Vulgarians, Al recorded several first ascents in the gunks, climbing the 5.7 Eeny Meeny in 1959, the 5.9 Triangle in 1960 as a first free ascent, and many others over the years. His love of climbing extended beyond the gunks, and he recorded first ascents of prominent mountains in the Brooks Range and the Cathedral Spires in Alaska. Fellow Vulgarian and Mohonk Preserve volunteer Claude Sewell shared this remembrance of Al from those early days. Within a decade, Al had established a unique aura about him, stoically plowing through hip-deep snowdrifts in below zero temperatures up steep Adirondack trails, pushing the limit, practicing walking around in the winter with snowballs clenched in his hands, toughening himself to be able to climb in winter without gloves. It was said by some, reverentially in whispers, that the ideal Al Di Maria adventure was where only Al would survive. So we tread carefully behind Al, being ready to bail should our limits be overextended. Al's appreciation of arduous adventure extended to preserving natural spaces so others could have their own wild experiences. After noticing graffiti spray painted on the cliffs in the near traps, Al and fellow Vulgarian Dave Kraft organized climbers to remove the graffiti. To help make climbing more accessible and sustainable in the gunks, Al volunteered with the climbers' trail crew, started by another Vulgarian, Dick Williams, in 2000. This work involves moving heavy stones and boulders weighing upwards of hundreds of pounds to form stone steps for trail users to follow to the popular climbing areas, providing a sustainable footpath and reducing erosion. Al would continue doing these physically demanding volunteer duties until he was 80 years old. In addition to volunteering with Mohonk Preserve's Climbers Trail crew, Al volunteered with our backcountry patrol group for more than 10 years before joining our trail keepers. He meticulously maintained the Duck Pond Trail for 10 years until he handed it over to a new volunteer in 2019. Al is also a major friend and supporter of the preserve, a life member and a generous contributor to several of our critical fundraising initiatives, most recently to the campaign for the Mohonk Preserve foothills. As a climber, trail keeper, life member, and donor, Al has always been there for the preserve. We thank Al for his legacy of service and leadership at Mohonk Preserve, and it is my honor to present him with the 2020 Volunteer Legacy Award. Next, Ella Bukowski will present the Gregory Switleck Senior Volunteer Achievement Award.
Hi, I'm Elle Bukowski, and as many of you know, the Gregory Switleck Senior Volunteer Achievement Award is named in honor of my grandfather. His commitment and dedication to Mohonk Preserve was reflected in the outstanding volunteer work he did for the preserve during his lifetime. My grandfather shared years of knowledge, time, and efforts with the preserve in a variety of volunteer activities: visitor reception, trail keeper, photographer, and special events support, as well as serving on the land stewardship and volunteer committees and as a board member. His love for the preserve and its community was endless, and his passion for volunteering was instilled in me and my sister at a very young age. An award in his honor is now given annually to a Mohonk Preserve volunteer to recognize their distinguished service in assisting the preserve in carrying on its very important mission. Similar to my grandfather, this year's recipients have made similar contributions to the preserve, sharing years of knowledge, time, and effort in a variety of volunteer activities, and making invaluable contributions as annual members and event supporters to this great place we all love. Our recipients joined the preserve in 2013 and quickly became active volunteers. Since then, volunteering together and individually, they have served an impressive 1,824 hours to date. One half of this couple currently serves as the volunteer coordinator for the interpretive guides. In this leadership role, he coordinates the weekly interpretive guide schedule and regularly covers shifts when other volunteers aren't available. He is a dedicated team member, making sure the volunteers in his group have everything they need to be prepared and feel appreciated. He leads our orientations for the interpretive guides and sends them a weekly e-newsletter filled with inspirational quotes, important updates, and preserve-related trivia. Earlier this year, after the preserve reopened, he worked closely with volunteer programs manager Andy Reynolds to develop new health and safety protocols for interpretive guides so they could safely return to their activity and assist in the essential work of welcoming volunteers on busy weekends. He also took on a new role, assisting in the management of the volunteer Trailhead Ambassadors Group. The other half of this couple currently volunteers as the Rock the Ridge Relay Team Liaison. In this unique leadership position, she plays the role of matchmaker, connecting race participants in need of relay partners so they can form a team of 2 or 4. She is also a co-captain with her partner at the Spring Farm Aid Station, one of our busiest and most demanding rest stops on the Rock the Ridge course. She brings a high level of creativity, energy, and organization to this role, turning the aid station into a luau party, while coordinating race volunteers and participants. She additionally volunteers with our development department to assemble important mailings or get materials ready for special events. On behalf of the Switleck family, I am honored to announce Ken Pawson and Rosemary Salden Pawson as the recipients of the 2020 Gregory Switleck Senior Volunteer Achievement Award.
My name is Andy Reynolds. I'm the Volunteer Programs Manager at Mohonk Preserve. Thank you, volunteers, for helping to protect this land we all love and inspiring people to care for enjoy and explore this special place. Whether you volunteer to preserve the land, support conservation science research initiatives, provide environmental educational opportunities to youth, welcome new and returning visitors, or help at special events, volunteers like you ensure this magnificent landscape remains protected and accessible for everyone. Thank you for your volunteer service and for everything you do to make the preserve a warm, welcoming place and community for all. We look forward to a safer, healthier, and better 2021 and hope to celebrate with you all in person next year.